What's approaching the supreme moment, reality striking closer than it seems, don't it? Go ahead.
What's good? I've been working on this unit for a pretty long time now, and I finally got the last dupe I needed. I've always been curious about this initially SR unit TEQ Beerus, and it does Dokkan Awaken into this version. And you really don't hear about this unit a whole lot, and I haven't really seen it at 100% potential, so I figured I would test this unit out and see how it is at 100%. So let's go ahead and cover the stats as always. I did give this guy level 20 for crits because there wasn't really anything special with it. So let's cover the stats. Leader skill is TEQ type attack increase of 50%. Super attack will cause extreme damage to enemy and also lowers defense. Passive skill will increase attack by 40% at the start of the turn, so not too bad there. I mean, could obviously be much higher, but really not bad. Link skills, Godly Power, 15% increase to attack. Prodigies is 10% increase to attack. Connoisseur is 5% HP recovery. The Innocence is 10% increase to attack and shocking speed. Plus 2 key. Formidable enemy is 10% increase to attack as well. 2 categories, Realm of Gods, which you're seeing right now, and we'll switch over to that other category in the second half, which will be the movie bosses. Maxed out, as you see, HP is 10,474, attack is 10,991, and defense is 7,014, 12 key multiplier being 140%. So right now you're seeing the Realm of Gods team setup, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you, like, this unit actually isn't too bad. I was actually surprised a little bit. He's putting up some decent numbers. Obviously nothing crazy, and definitely pretty, limited in terms of, the output at 100% potential equivalency, but he's doing okay. Now, I do have him linked up with the LR, Beerus, and Whis unit because of all the link skills that they share, similar to all the other Beerus units that are in the game. Like, this Beerus is definitely on the bottom of the totem pole in list of other Beeruses, like the Strength, the Easy Attack, and even the Intelligence. Those are much, much better units than this version. But however, if you're lacking units, if you're for some reason don't have the other Beerus units, or you're a new player, I mean, this could potentially be a decent option for you. Now, it does require the investment of potential system orbs, but it's not okay. Like, I've tested out pretty obsolete units in the past, and this is one of the more decent ones, honestly. It's not terrible, but it's not great, you know what I mean? Like, that's probably the best way to explain it. Now, again, he doesn't really have any special skill sets with his stats outside of maybe lowering defense, but that's a pretty minimal number of status effect at this point. So that's why I gave this guy level 20 for criticals, just went the full crit route for the potential levels, and level 6 for additional attack. That's pretty much the format with that. And I mean, he's got a potential damage output of 640k. Now, this is actually pretty decent. It's a pretty good number considering. It's not the best, anywhere close to the best, but from all the tests I've done in the past with similar type units, I think this unit's pretty decent. It's definitely, I don't want to recommend you do this necessarily, but I kind of get why I was curious about it for such a long time. Like, I've been wanting to rainbow this guy for at least a year now, you know what I mean? So it's been a long time coming, and I'm glad I was finally able to. And I think, I'm definitely decently surprised with his potential. And it's early in the morning, so I'm enjoying my, I don't even know, second or third cup of coffee right now, but Saturday morning, chilling, don't have to work, so it's a good feeling. All I got to worry about is playing Dokkan Battle today. So, the unit does link pretty well with the rest of the team. There are certain links that might have some issues, but for the most part, yeah, I mean, he links up pretty well with the rest of the team. Having links like Godly Power is obviously going to help quite a bit, because most of the units on the Realm of Gods category will have that link skill. Most of them, not all of them, but most of them will, and that certainly does help. You got units like the Supreme Kaya Time. I did include her on there. She provides a pretty good passive, up to like 40% increase toward attack and defense, as well as a key boost and 7% crit chance. The Topo unit is also very good, 35% increase for attack and defense for super types and 50% reduction to defense for extreme type enemies. So overall, I mean, he is getting the support, but at the same time, it's literally only 2 support units within this team setup. So it's definitely pretty realistic in terms of how the team's being ran. However, you definitely do want to link this guy up with the LR, Beerus, and Whis, because they do share pretty much most of the link skills together. So that's going to help a lot in terms of maximizing this version of the TEQ Beerus to his maximum potential. Now, that's a big if you have the LR version of Beerus, but if you don't, you could certainly use other like Whis units typically have like Connoisseur and Godly Power, or whatever the case was, but it's not too bad in terms of getting this guy to a decent number. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, your 600,000 potential attack stats is obviously much lower than 3.2 million like the LR version, but I think for such a unit that's originally an SR unit, being able to produce a similar amount of some of the SSR versions, I mean, it's a pretty good number at the end of the day. So it's not too bad. Now, we did switch over to the movie bosses category setup. I kind of like this team a little bit more just because of the units on the team. For me personally, I like running movie bosses a lot, and the units I have in this category are very good. Most of them are either at 90% or 100% potential, so it's a lot easier to run this team in terms of blasting through events and whatnot, and Beerus does okay with this setup. Now, the only drawback with this setup is, as you can see right now, he does not link with the Turles unit. They don't share any link skills, so that's unfortunately the bad thing about it. But you could certainly put Beerus in the first slot and put the LR Beerus and Whis in the second slot, but obviously the LR version will get a higher boost by getting attacked first, so that's kind of why he's in that position. But you can certainly do it a different way. Overall, all in all, this guy is pretty decent. He's not terrible, but he's not great. That's probably the best way to explain it. Like, I'm not going to recommend you do this, but if you had thought about it or you have done it, I can see why it was done. Yeah, this unit really ain't too bad. It's a lot better than I was expecting it to be. I mean, again, 643,000 potential output is pretty good for this type of unit. I've seen a lot worse, trust me, and I've wasted orbs on a lot worse units, so this is actually pretty decent considering. Lately, I think the biggest regret, I wouldn't say regret, but being wasteful in the resources is probably the TEQ unit and the Prodigies unit. Obviously, it was a waste of orbs. You never want to do something like that. It's literally just throwing that shit away, because you're not gonna run them on any type of team really. They're so bad. And the interesting thing about this TEQ Beerus is the fact that at the end of the day, this guy's super TEQ is extreme damage. It's not supreme, it's actually extreme damage. So, if it was supreme, this guy would definitely hit for a little bit more. So I guess if you look at it that way, 643,000 potential, with some of the help he's getting with extreme damage is pretty good. All in all, it's not a bad unit. He does decent on both the Realm of Gods category and the movie bosses. He's definitely an okay unit. You're probably gonna have. It's hard to say. Personally, I like him on the movie boss category, even though most of these units don't have godly power. However, I kind of prefer this team over the Realm of Gods team just because of how my team is set up. I think on the Realm of Gods team, it's probably where he's more applicable, to be honest. Like, most of the units do share the godly power link skill. as well as, you know, providing other supporting roles, like, you know, Topo's in there, the Supreme Kai at times on there. I'm sure there's a couple of other units that could provide, you know, the assistance. What was it? The Western Supreme Kai. She provides the agility version provides a pretty decent boost as well. So I think the TEQ Supreme Kai also provides like a 30% increase to allies as part of the super attack. So you certainly do have options with that, and he'll probably get a better boost overall. But in terms of efficiency, I think I prefer, honestly, me personally, I prefer the movie bosses. I mean, I'm a little bit biased because I like running this team, and it's probably one of my favorite categories in the game right now. So I may sound a little bit biased, but that's, you know, what Dokkan Battle is. I mean, it's a personal preference over certain categories over another. You know, that's kind of how this game is set up, and a lot of it does come down to how your deck is actually set up. So you know, that's why I wanted to provide a comparison between both the not a comparison, but a showcase with both the Realm of Gods and movie bosses, just to provide a little bit of variety in terms of how he does on different team setups. So I think in normal situations without the support, you're looking at 500,000 potential attack. So I mean, 500,000 is still 500,000. It's a pretty decent number. It's not the greatest, but it's good enough in my opinion. So I think without the supporting units within the rotation, expect about that amount linked up with LR Beerus, and sharing like other sharing link skills like shocking speed. I think is the only link skill that Beerus does share with the cooler units. So essentially, you're not looking at that much of an attack increase besides the link between LR Beerus and Whis. So if you look at it that way, he's actually doing pretty good. And he's not that far off the cooler unit right there, even though, you know, cooler is technically a much better unit. So alright, let's see how he does with the Dokkan mode. Now, the Strength Ultimate Gohan definitely does take a lot less in damage with this Dokkan event, so the numbers are probably going to be decreased a little bit, but yeah, let's just see how he does. Now, it is providing, Turles is providing a 40% increase to attack as part of the passive, so he is at least getting that sort of boost on this rotation, but let's just see how he does. So 500,000 against Ultimate Gohan, I think that's an okay number. It's again not the greatest, but it's a decent enough number. So hopefully you guys enjoy this showcase video. I appreciate you watching, and as always, stay tuned for next time.